This is Cassidy Gustafson.
Hi, I'm Marissa Young.
Hi, my name is Lexi Ellen from the University of the Pacific Volleyball, and
You're watching 209 Sports
on Tiger Radio. On Tiger Radio.
I am j.d. Jeff Dominic, and a little bit of a scheduling change because they are here in studio with me right now, none other than Marissa Young, junior pitcher for the University of Pacific Tigers, women's softball team, and the senior Cassidy Gustafson. Ladies, thank you all very much for joining us.
Of course, thank you for having us.
Thank you very much. And so as we're starting to wind down on the season here, but this team has done something since that we haven't seen them do since 2007, which is winning 7 in a row. First of all, how is that kind of momentum starting to build up as you kind of start to close out the season? I'll start with the senior.
Well, it's an incredible way to end a senior season, and considering how great this program has grown over the 4 years, it's something awesome to have going for us. And I think the biggest thing for us is we're very relaxed, and we're very we're taking things day by day, and we're not overthinking. We're learning how to feel things out, and it's a good thing to have going.
Marissa, you've been absolutely on a tear lately, having quite a few good games, and like I said, I've interviewed you. What was it, that LMU series?
Yes. Doing
something that has never been done, which was sweep a series against LMU. Now that we're kind of seeing what you're able to do, and how has this junior season, how have you progressed, and what has been the biggest change in your mechanics as you start to become a big force here at Pacific?
I would say mechanically, I've learned how to use my entire body when I'm starting to throw. I think in previous seasons, I was very reliant on just using my arm, but this year I worked a lot on core strength and strengthening my legs and really being able to build up my endurance in order to have weekends and outings like I've been having lately.
So as we kind of will talk about this season, but a lot of this is derived on the seniors and in the transition to what Marissa, you'll be next year, obviously a senior, but Cass and Marissa, what brought you to Pacific? I think that's a good question to ask both of you. For Marissa, you starting to get ready for your senior season next year, and Cassidy Gustafson, as you start to get ready for your finish off your senior season. Why Pacific? Why did it come down to Pacific?
Well, Boss, otherwise known as Brian Colsey, a lot of people don't know him as Boss, but but the one thing he made very important to me was the fact that the athletics program here is much of a family. And on my first visit, I met everybody in athletics. That was administration, compliance, everyone, and everyone seemed very tight-knit. And I wasn't really looking for a big school to go to, and I felt the first time I came here, I definitely felt in my comfort zone. I wasn't nervous in being here. Even the girls that I knew I wasn't going to play with that I met on my visit, I got along with really well. And seeing how they interacted with one another was something that was really important to me. So that was something that I looked forward to having as a player at Pacific.
How about for you, Marissa?
Me, it was very similar with Cassidy. I didn't want to go to a big school. I liked that Pacific was a small private school. I wanted to go somewhere where academics was almost equally as important as the athletics, but I wanted to stay in a program that was still competitive and played top-level D1 teams. So I think that was the big appeal for me, was I was getting everything I was looking for in a college.
Both players are currently, from California. Marissa, you're from Rancho Cucamonga, and then of course Cassidy, you're not far off. I actually kind of last time I tried to read off this one, Rancho Santa Margarita, California. So
the Ranchos.
sounds like one needs a drink and the other one. but in all honesty, what was was California, just trying to stay in California, was that one of the biggest things that also led you here? Knowing that it's as you said, small school, but still the family knitted oriented type of system. But being in California, was that one of also a big push for you to stay around here?
Definitely. My mom always joked around. She goes, "I'm only 6 hours away, so I can still come up and do your laundry." She had to joke around about that with me, which is hilarious.
How much laundry has she done for you, actually, though?
Not at all. Okay. I haven't done it at all. I've learned.
So, number 74. That's kind of an odd number. Not many people can really bring that up. Does it mean anything to you? Why did you pick the number 74?
It's a number that's always been in my family. Growing up, when my dad was in high school, that was a number that he used. Funny story, hopefully my mom doesn't hear this, but someone she dated in high school was number 74, so she liked the number. Coincidentally, they both liked it. So it's a number that I've always used, partially as a joke and partially because my family has used it for a very long time, and it's something that's definitely unique. I think there's only one other 74 in the NCAA, and she goes to Florida, I believe, but that's the only other 74
I remember
that I've
my
ever seen.
freshman year when I came in, I was like, 74, what is that? Why 74?
Thanks, Riss.
Yeah.
Very unique, it's okay.
It is, and I think that a lot of people don't know that, and now that we're all streaming live, and this will be an interesting conversation at Thanksgiving now, but nevertheless, it's kind of interesting. I mean, number 5 for Marissa. I mean, does that signify anything for you? I mean, it's always been a high school number. What's that been for you?
Okay, so number 5, funny story. When I first started playing softball, this was an 8 and under. I chose number 5 because I obviously wasn't a pitcher at the time. But my dad has a sports magazine on the table, and he goes, "This is Albert Pujols. He's number 5, and he's the best hitter in baseball."
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I want to be like Albert Pujols.
Nice.
So ever since I was little, I've always just had number 5 because it kind of meant something to me when I was little. Dad was like, he's a good hitter. You want to be like him, and I was like, yeah, I do. So.
And now you're a pitcher.
Now I'm a pitcher.
Well,
no hitting at all.
No.
No hitting.
What got you both into softball? I mean, was it something that family pushed you in? Was it something that you just kind of always wanted to do?
Well, for me, I never did any team sports until I played softball. I started with ice skating, gymnastics, dance, anything super girly and artsy was thrown my way. Played soccer, not a fan of soccer. I was the only girl on the team, so it was a giant game of keep away. Wasn't a fan of that. I do recall my parents telling me that my first game of softball that I ever played, I was playing left field, and a ball was hit deep in right field, and I ran all the way across the field to get it. So from that, my dad knew that softball was going to be my sport. I was always competitive since I first started when I was 6 years old. So it's just something that stuck, and I knew that I can achieve many things if I kept playing softball. So that's what brought me here.
Stuck with it. Mm-hmm. Now, Marissa, we kind of got a little bit of the backstory, obviously, because number 5, Pujols, that kind of all worked out. So does that lead me to believe that you're also a St. Louis Cardinals fan, or have you moved to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim?
See, a lot of people laugh at me and don't believe me when I say I don't really have a favorite baseball team. I have a favorite football team, I have a favorite basketball team, but I don't really have a favorite baseball team.
Okay. A
lot of people call me a bandwagoner for it because you'll always see me like cheering for. I'll always choose, like in playoffs, I'll always choose one.
Nice. Okay.
I like a lot of players. Ever since I've been up here, I've kind of been pushed towards being a Giants fan. So maybe eventually I'll become just a Giants fan. But for as of right now, it's just kind of I have favorite players, not really a favorite team.
Nothing wrong with that. Cassidy, who you got?
I'm a hardcore Angels fan.
Oh.
Have been since very young age.
She can tell you every player's walkout song and
No
the
kidding.
rally monkey will start going.
Mm-hmm.
And
What was that, 2000?
Me and 2002, they won the World Series.
That's right.
Me and other junior Sydney Launders, we talk about when a certain song comes out during our pregame warm-up. She goes, "This is from the Angels. This is 7th inning, rally monkey time," and we'll always joke around about different songs.
It's disturbing how well they know it.
Yeah, definitely some of my favorite players have been on that team.
Okay, so what's your feelings on obviously arguably one of the best players in Major League Baseball today, and that's Mike Trout?
See, the hard thing is that people think I'm a Angels fan because of Mike Trout. I will give it to him.
I wasn't going there. I just had to bring up.
Phenomenal player, but I definitely like some of the older players. I was a huge Troy Gloss fan, David Eckstein, and now I've been a big Jared Weaver fan.
Okay.
So those are my favorites.
Along with Jim Edmonds and all those guys.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, no, he's a great center fielder. Obviously, one of his defining moments was crashing into center field and the wall and all that other stuff. And I think he broke his nose, if I'm not mistaken, in that play.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still a lot of good things. And I'm not sitting there saying that was a bad thing, because I think he still made the catch. So it's just a lot of toughness. So, but you've moved over to third base, and you also get in the circle every now and then, especially your freshman, sophomore, junior year. Why both positions? Why didn't you just focus on one at that time?
Well, originally I was recruited as a utility player.
Mm-hmm.
So from day one, boss always told me wherever you're needed, you're going to go. So I've already accepted that. And when I pitch, my mentality shifts to what it needs to be when I pitch. And third base, I've fallen in love with. And the funny thing is before I came here, I was actually an outfielder and a pitcher. So third base was definitely kind of new to me, but I've fallen in love with that position, and it's definitely my favorite corner.
And I think that coach is going to have a hard time to fill that position.
Yeah,
next year.
You wouldn't guess that she didn't play third until she got here. I didn't even know that, so that I was like, wait, what? You're just so good over there that it's like that shocks me. I didn't know that.
Yeah, gold glove caliber and everything else. I mean, you've done a great job over there at third base. But this season, more than any other season, you haven't been in the circle as much. Has that helped you focus on being able to play your position a little bit more and also at the plate?
Well, I would think that my game at the plate has definitely improved quite a bit this season, and sometimes having a little break from pitching is nice. However, I do love being in the circle. I love working in bullpens with Coach Yama and with whoever's catching me. And like I said, wherever I'm needed, I'm going to adjust my mentality and work just as hard at any other position that I'm needed in. So I will say that third base definitely feels like home for me.
Now, as we kind of start to say your goodbyes in some ways, what are some of the things that you're going to miss about Pacific?
Oh, gosh.
Me.
Marissa already knows. I don't say it out loud. She already knows.
That one's easy.
Like I said, what brought me to the Pacific is the family aspect. I'm definitely going to miss, all the athletic trainers, the strength coach, and how every staff member made you feel like that you were a part of the Pacific family. I've never heard of a case where an athlete is left behind in any way. Everyone is cared for and accounted for equally just as anybody else. And that's the one thing that I think I'm going to miss the most.
And I'll do it this way for Marissa. What are you going to miss most about Cassidy Gustafson?
What am I not going to miss about this? No, that's a serious statement. Cass and I, from the beginning, before actually I even got here, before I came on my official, I had gotten a text message from this weird number. I had no clue who it was, and I was like, okay, and I opened it, and I remember it clear as day. She's like, hi, I'm Cassidy. I'm a freshman here, and you're going to be coming on your official soon. I just wanted to give you, a reminder of some things to bring on your official. I'm so excited for you to come. So right from the get-go, she was the quick friend. I think probably, the first friend I made here. I'm going to miss how much she cares about the team, and just the love that she has for the game, because it's something you don't come across in a lot of athletes. She's very passionate about everything she does. I'd be silly if I said I'm not going to miss her at third. She saved me in so many games, so finding someone to fill that role, that's going to be terrible for me. I'm going to be so hard on them. I'm be like, Cassidy didn't do it like that. Aren't you like Cassidy? Obviously, I'll be missing her bad. There's so much I'm going to be missing about Cass. It's the person she is, both on and off the field. It's truly going to be hard to replace Cassidy.
There's always good things that we talk always about the good things about Pacific and what things that teams are, whether it be athletics or anything, they're still trying to evolve. But what has been some of the hard things that you've had to learn and adapt to coming over from, even though you're still in California, what have been the hardest parts for you?
I think to this day, time management has definitely been the hardest thing to take care of. Either when it's trying to finish a paper on time, but you have 3 games that week and you have no idea when the heck you're going to sit down and finish that paper, or when you're on the road and you can only see your family for just a short time. Even though I'm only about a 6-hour drive away, it's still the hardest thing for me was definitely being away from my family, even though, like I said, I am close. But I think that'll definitely be that was the most difficult for me.
What about you, Marissa?
Am I allowed to say allergies? The
Yeah,
allergies
absolutely.
in Southern California and Northern California are terrible. If you see me anytime during the week, it looks like I'm crying all the time because my allergies are so bad in the spring. But on a serious note, I think a lot of what Cass said, I agree. Time management. Somehow I always find myself doing things 2 hours before they're due. I don't know how that happens.
And you pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to pass, but I'm still playing, so yes,
True.
luckily.
True.
Yes, I do. time management. Sometimes it's as weird as it is, it's getting along with people, understanding. Like I've grown up a lot here just from that, like knowing that not everyone has the same feelings or will react the same way that you do. And I think I've learned that most with this year's team is you're going to have different personalities. You're going to have personality clashes with some people, but you have to learn and understand how other people feel and think sometimes, and you have to treat them how they would want to be treated. I think that's the biggest thing I've learned is how to be selfless.
Now, I'm just kind of, obviously I'm looking into some of the stuff that is over here on PacificTigers.com, and Cassidy has you put as you're an exercise and sports sciences major. Interesting, and you're also a health, exercise, and sports sciences major. I better get it all correct. Are you still in that field?
Yes, I am. So that field specifically, it's a large department, but my specific field of study is sports pedagogy, and that's the.
Help me.
Yeah,
You saw the blank look in my face. Keep going.
All it is, it's the study of physical education, coaching, nutrition. It's a pretty broad umbrella.
Okay.
So we have some like strength trainers that are in there. We have some potential teachers in there. So my focus is physical education as well as earning my credentials for adaptive PE, which is working primarily with special education students.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
So that's, my field's a little bit, it's very specific.
So are you going to do like the Paralympics and stuff like that? Are you like, is that something that you would try and get into? Is that something like that?
I have worked with the Special Olympics a little bit over the past couple of years, especially when they were in LA in 2015. Mm-hmm. But that's definitely something I'm interested in. Definitely want to get in the elementary school level. That's where I'm looking.
That's cool. Okay, so after this, then, so you're pretty much finishing up here. Is there like more that you have to do? How does that kind of, or I mean, after that you have to get an intern. How does something like that work out for you?
Well, I just reapplied to UOP for grad school for my master's here. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay. And so Marissa, your last time I looked, you were in sociology.
Yeah, not in that anymore.
Okay.
I've been meaning to tell someone to change that. It's actually funny because my dad yells at me all the time. You're not a sociology major, you need to tell someone to change that. I'm like, okay.
Well, you heard it here first.
Yeah, no, I'm a marketing major.
Marketing major, yes. Okay, so what classes are you taking right now to finish that off with another year to go?
Yeah, statistics. What other classes am I in? I'm in an economics class, and what's the other one I'm in?
MIS?
Yes.
What's that one?
Business Management Information Systems.
Okay.
It's all very exciting.
It sounds like, well, statistics actually sounds kind of cool, but that's just me being weird at that time.
Yeah,
but
no,
anyway.
With me, statistics, no.
What made you change?
When I went into sociology, and this was me being very self-aware, I will say, I knew I couldn't, like after I took one class, and I was like, okay, this is not what I want to do. It doesn't suit my personality. So I talked with my family about it. I was like, I don't know what I would want to do outside of working with other people. And my aunt, actually, she lives in Georgia. She was a marketing major, and she really talked me into going into marketing. She's like, I think you'd be perfect for it. You have to be sociable with people still, but you can be a little bit more behind the scenes, and you don't have to be as careful with your words. And so it was a better fit for my personality, as opposed to being a sociology major.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and take a small break. They can say hi to Cassidy Gustafson and to Marissa Young, as they are two of the University of Pacific women's softball players. One of them being Cassidy Gustafson. She is a senior getting ready to finish off her career here at the University of Pacific, holding back a few tears, holding back a little bit of the emotions. I can already tell. And, of course, there's Marissa Young, who's celebrating her finishing up her junior year, and probably, I think CJ's in the background, and it has been updated. She is updating it right now. She is changing her major, taking care of everything, right?
Thank you, Christine Jacobson.
She's all done. She's all done. So she's all been taken care of. So, Dad at home, if you're listening here or wherever you may be listening at, or if you get a copy of this, whatever happens, you can rest assured CJ's on it. Marissa Young has let her know.
Sorry for calling you out, Dad.
So, but anyways, we were kind of talking a little bit off air. If you happen to catch it on Twitter Live, that's awesome. But we were all having a good time here in the studio. So thank you all very much for tuning in. Anyways, let's see here. What have I missed that maybe we can cover? You know, Cassidy, with you finishing off your senior year here, what can you tell what are you planning on telling everybody that is moving up next year, like Marissa, who's going to be a senior next year? What's one of the things that you can pretty much give them a little bit of senior advice as you get ready to move on? Something that maybe you haven't told Marissa yet.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure because the way you two talk and the way that you've two gelled, it's kind of like, oh well, they've pretty much told everything to each other. So
We have, we actually have.
Yeah. Well, what Boss always says, that this 4 years is the fastest, and it definitely is. He always tells us if you live to be 80 years old, that's 4 years of your life, and that's, if I do my math correctly, it's a 20th of your life. That's right. Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
I'm not a math major.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Came to that.
statistics.
So that being said, the one thing I can definitely say is to enjoy the little things and enjoy every moment that you have. And it's one thing that he's always reiterated to not only myself, but to a lot of girls that come to these camps to us and to incoming freshmen, is don't wait for it to be over. Just enjoy every second of the way, because every day is a different building block to build yourself not only as a player but as a person.
And Marissa, next year you're going to see all these young freshmen. I know how to do everything, and I'm sure you probably came in that way. No, not you.
Oh no,
never.
I was scared of everyone and everything.
Yes, you were.
I may not look like it, but I was terrified.
Okay, so
I wouldn't make eye contact with people because I was like, oh god, I don't want to rub you the wrong way.
well, okay, so for every freshman that thinks that they're going to completely dominate
Okay.
the West Coast Conference and completely dominate that everything that Coach Colsey and the scheduling and everything is going to put in their way, what will you tell them as you start to get ready to step on that circle and they're looking into you with the wide-eyed and ready to go?
I'd say confidence is everything. It's great to be confident. From experience, confidence has gotten me through so much, but at the same time, you be humble. Be a little bit humble. It's what you think is going to happen and what may actually happen are two completely different things, and it's something you don't know and you can't predict the outcome before it happens. So you just have to have the confidence, but be a little more humble in how you approach things is what I would tell them. And just beware of, it's not as easy as it sounds. Because I know before coming into college I was kind of like, okay, like a couple classes here and there, go play softball would be great. I remember my freshman year, I'd cry myself to sleep. I have so much to do. I need to do laundry. I haven't done it. So it's a lot. But like Cassidy says, enjoy it.
Would you say that's probably the biggest hurdle of moving up to Division I? I mean, is that all your scheduling and making sure you have all your ducks in a row, being ready to be able to go to class and not remembering if you have softball practice that day or not, or fortunately you have Mondays typically off, so that makes it easy.
Yeah.
But if you don't remember if you have softball practice, oh crud, I have a class. Is time planning and time management, as Cassidy was talking about, is that probably the biggest thing, or is there other hurdles that you have to know as a player and a person that's going to college?
I would say time management is the most obvious one, and that's something everyone will tell you is because it's sometimes you'll forget. You have to eat lunch between class and practice. So sometimes you do forget things, but I think there's a lot of things that you figure out as you're going through it as well. Like me, I wouldn't have known that I can pull an all-nighter, and I brought a Keurig one time to the library. I've learned I can be really creative and innovative. I had to pull an all-nighter to finish paper, so I was like, okay, and I took my Keurig into the library. Everyone looked at me really sideways because they were like, what is this girl doing with a coffee machine in the library? But a lot of it, you figure it out as you go. And there are some things, there's some obstacles and some hurdles that jump in your way, but you'll be able to figure them out.
What about that as the athletics side of things? I mean, we can talk about school and trying to intermingle school and work and being an athlete all at the same time. What about just being an athlete? I mean, what has been some of the biggest hurdles of just moving up from high school to Division I?
My body is worn out.
You're so tired all the time.
We were in the weight room today, and our trainer Charlie, he was joking around, pointing at me and one of the other seniors, Jessica, saying, "This is the senior center over here." So it's definitely what our bodies feel like. We're very worn out, that's for sure. You can say that.
Favorite, I think we've kind of talked about it, but I'll kind of go on Marissa's side of things, and we talked about teams, we talked about all this stuff. Who was your favorite athlete that you looked up to as you kind of started to want to play softball? I mean, it doesn't have to be softball related. I mean, was there was it Michael Jordan or was it oh crud, now all of a sudden I can't think of her name, but she was a famous softball player for many years.
Jenny Finch.
Thank you.
Hey-o.
She knew where I was going with it. And I had it in my mind, and
so many for you.
I was ready to go off with it, and as I start talking, it slips my mind. But you exactly nailed it. But was it someone like that just made you want to be an athlete?
I know I have one. And it was after I started playing. So when I was really little, obviously I said earlier it was Albert Pujols. But as I got into playing and I got really serious with softball, it was Laura Berg.
Okay.
And the energy she played with, and how, because I had the opportunity to meet her one time, and the way she spoke and how passionate she was about the game, I was like, okay, like, you love it for a reason, I'm going to go do it just like you did. So I know that's who kind of really inspired me after I got into softball.
Same with Riz. I definitely looked up to more Major League Baseball players. My family always joked around with me that I was definitely a Vladimir Guerrero of softball. I swung at everything, above my head, below my shins, anything. But thanks. But when I got to high school, I looked at some of the girls that were only a year to 3 years older than me, and there's one I looked up to in particular, and that was Lauren Chamberlain, and she's a recent graduate of University of Oklahoma, and now she plays for a professional team. She plays for Pride, which is in Florida. And the one thing that that was so admiring about her was the fact that no matter what she did, she just looked like she owned it. And she was super confident. Confidence was something that I always struggled with because I would always either be unsure with myself, disappointed in one thing that I did. And even though she never strikes out, she either hits bombs or gets blocked. Whenever she had something that didn't go her way, she brushed it off and just looked like it didn't faze her. And that was someone that I definitely looked up to in that aspect.
Talking with Cassidy Gustafson and Marissa Young, both from the University of Pacific women's softball team. And before we're kind of winding things down here a little bit, I want to get your most memorable games. And yours for up to this point, but for Cassidy, I want your most memorable game.
LSU.
Yeah, I knew it was coming up.
LSU.
I knew it was coming up. I just want to take us through it. Take us through that moment. Take us through that time that you stepped in the circle and took on at that time, I believe, number 3 nationally ranked LSU team.
Well, when I told her I was pitching, I thought, okay,
I said, thank God it's not me.
She was excited. I'm not pitching.
Yes, it's not me.
But I remember warming up in the bullpen, and the bullpen wall was about 40 feet tall, and there's all these kids and parents just looking over, watching me warm up. And for me, before the game even started, I was thinking, oh crap, this can go one of two ways. I can either do really well, or I'm going to get spanked. I don't know which one, but and that's definitely a game that I took inning by inning, because after the first couple innings, I'm like, wow, I'm doing pretty well. This is good. Got through the first round of the lineup, and then when it came to the second time through, I started getting a little bit more nervous. I thought, okay, these are some of the best hitters in the country. Like, they know how to read pitchers. And I was definitely nervous each inning, and I always saw someone on the base. I'm like, please don't let them score this inning. Let's not. And then I kind of cleared my head a little bit, and I thought, I can't think that way. I can't think, oh, this is going to be the inning where they come through and win. This is going to be the inning where Bianca Bell's going to hit a bomb off me. No, I had to take it inning by inning, worry about hitting my spots, and definitely the support from my teammates that I got throughout the entire game. I know some of them could see that I was getting a little, frazzled after each inning, thinking, wow, I got through that inning, and they would keep telling me, you can get through another one, you can get through one more. Just get one out at a time, get one pitch at a time. And definitely the biggest role model I looked up to that year was our shortstop at the time, Mel Habib, and she was definitely someone that really calmed me down. And last year, our sophomore shortstop, who's now a junior, our third baseman, Molly Bourne, both of them really were able to help me get out of my own head and help me realize that I was picked to pitch this game because my coaches and the rest of the team had faith in me that I could do it. So when that final ground ball was hit to Mel, I almost started crying. I was so excited. You can see tears in Boss's eyes start to form. Yeah. Everyone was like, wow, this just happened. And after the game, we started to call our team the team that shocked the world. So that's what it definitely felt like.
To this day, I still remember where I was when that happened. We were watching basketball, or there was a basketball game going on. not a single person was watching the game. I mean, I'll guarantee there's people scoring it properly, but everyone's focus was on that watching that screen. I remember that day.
That's fun to know.
So,
Yeah.
Marissa, you're not too far away, but you've got one more year going. But do you have any favorite memories of when you step in that circle?
Oh goodness. Okay. So I don't have any great victory stories like Cassidy does, or none that I can think of at least. But the one when everyone says like, "What's your most memorable game?" I go and I think of BYU last year. That's the first game that popped in my head. It was kind of like a Cassidy situation, but less intense. I was like, okay, BYU's really good. You just got to go out there. You got to take it pitch by pitch, do what you can. We ended up losing in the most heartbreaking way possible for me. But it was probably one of, if not the best games I've ever thrown, hands down. I had my career high strikeout in that game, and it was a fun game to throw.
And real quick, I want to go back to the LSU game. And the reason why I want to go back is because we saw everything that was going on, but what was that atmosphere like, taking on the number 3 nationally ranked team at that time, winning and getting it? I know everyone just completely freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
So what was that over there in that dugout? What was it like over there when everyone was congratulating you and that team and everything like that? What is that atmosphere like in the softball world?
So many eyes were on us that game. People thought, oh, this is just another team. We're going to take home a win, and we're just going to go home and celebrate after. And I think once we scored our first run, I remember Sarah coming across the plate. There's an awesome picture of it, of her colliding with the catcher. And when we started winning, I do my best to tune things out. But in that stadium, it was physically impossible to tune anything anyone said out, because there were... How many people?
There were so many people, and I know just from our dugout, I don't think anybody had a voice the next day from our dugout.
No.
I know I didn't. I don't lose my voice easily. And I was like, "Oh, Cassidy, great job!" So I can't imagine, because I'm really good. I zone in. So I was zoned into rooting for you guys that entire time from the bench, but there were so many people that game. I do remember, and it was one of those things where everyone in that stadium seemed to be rooting against you, so anything good that happened for LSU, it was this giant wave of wow and screams, and then when something happened for us, you could hear our little fan section, but it was just our little fan section was loud. Our little fan section was taking on that entire stadium, so it was a great atmosphere. It was one of those things. It's just, you will never forget that game, no matter where you were. If you were in the circle, if you were out in center field, or riding the bench, cheering on Cassidy. It was a fun game.
That's fantastic. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Winding down here, and I always got to know, we have one question, and I kind of said that when we went to break. Favorite Coach Colsey moment? Cassidy, I know you have a lot, but...
More of a saying than...
That's fine.
Things that he always says when he tries to tell us what's going on. It's always, "Here's the skinny." Tell us what he's going to say. And his signature quote of this year, I would have to say, is whenever he wants us to hurry up, he always claps his hand and he's like, "Chop, chop, let's go." The chop, chop thing.
Chop,
that
chop, chop gives me anxiety.
So, yeah, that gives us the anxiety. It's like, crap, we got to get going here. And at the same time, we're like, there he goes again. Chop, chop. All right. Guess we'll get a move on.
Favorite memory with your teammates that you can say on air?
Hey.
Oh gosh.
There can be more than one.
Oh yeah, there's several.
Yeah.
There's definitely several.
Tahoe this year.
Yes.
Okay.
This year, Tahoe.
Mm-hmm.
We took the greatest team retreat out to Tahoe. We rented a house out and just had a little team bonding weekend, and it was probably one of the most, not just relaxing, but fun weekends ever. It was, and this was in the beginning of the year, so we were all getting to know each other. We took 2 little kittens with us. We had just saved some kittens. They were
fun.
10 days old, so so Tahoe this year, definitely. Previous years, my brain doesn't work that well. I don't know if I can recall that quickly.
I'm just thinking about the paper I have to write later tonight.
Okay.
No problem.
All right.
But definitely the team bonding trips are definitely the most fun part.
Yeah.
And even if it's little things, like Thursday night bowling's $2 a game. We go bowling sometimes.
Losers had to jump in the pool.
Yeah.
It was freezing outside.
That was terrible. But we've had definitely some of the team bonding off the field. Those are the memories you're going to take with you. It does matter how well you do on the field, but I'm not going to remember 20 years from now that one person I struck out that one game, that one season.
I will jump in and say our conditioning sessions, though. I think this year, our conditioning, we got our butts kicked this year with conditioning, and I think that's where, honestly, some of our best team bonding came in.
Oh, yeah.
We were all, like, crawling to finish our conditioning, and we had to, like, go pick each other up, and it was... that's another good team memory of mine, just like athletically speaking. It was, 2016 fall conditioning.
Thanks, Charlie.
Cassidy, what's going to be probably the funnest chant that you'll hear in the dugout that you'll miss?
Oh gosh, funnest chant.
I remember seeing Coach Colsey dance a few times too.
Okay, I don't know about chant, but Cassidy's walkout song. What is it? It's Kanye West song.
Yeah, Black Skinhead by Kanye West.
Yes. Okay. It's not a chant, but everyone in the dugout tries to like beat along with the beat. It's terrible. We're softball players for a reason, but it's just so funny to watch and to listen to because it's so offbeat. But I think when you're not there and Black Skinhead isn't a walkout song, I think that would be like what I miss the most. I'm like, where's the off-tune beating? Where is it?
So I asked you this before we went on to the last break, and now it is time to go ahead and reveal those answers. If softball never existed or softball ended today, what would Cassidy Gustafson and Marissa Young be doing right now, other than probably talking to me on the air?
My team knows this very well about me. A little too well. So growing up, I did cotillion and I did ballroom dance, and I did that for about 7-8 years.
Okay.
That's definitely something I wish I could have stuck with, because once I started playing competitive softball, which I was about 13, I had to drop dance because I just couldn't afford it. It was just the time management was way too difficult and way too demanding on the softball end, and I thought, where am I going to get with dancing? I'm not going to get anywhere with ballroom dance. But I would definitely be doing ballroom dancing still. That was something that I really enjoyed.
Marissa?
We had to push our heads together and think, but I'd be out on the tennis court practicing right now to be the next Roger Federer.
Yeah, there you go. Serena
Williams,
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, whoever you want to insert name here at this time.
Yes.
Pete Sampras, that's my age there, but that's okay. But anyways, ladies, I want to thank you both very much for coming on. I know season's not done.
No.
There's a lot to look forward to. You take on St. Mary's, a beatable team. We all know we can. I think we can. That's my end to be able to say how beatable you should be able to take them on. And here's looking to have a winning season.
Yeah.
So
Can't wait.